Hello, and thank you for your interest in doctoral education at Nazarbayev University Graduate School of Education. My name is Lynn Parmenter. I'm a professor at NUGSE, and in this short presentation, I am going to talk a little bit about Nazarbayev University Graduate School of Education, about our school, about our people, our programs. I'll talk a little bit about what kind of doctoral education we're offering, because we're planning some changes for next year. I will explain briefly what a PhD at GSE involves, what an EdD at GSE will involve, and then I'll end by giving you some details of who to contact if you want to know any more details. So to start with, why NUGSE? So as you may or may not know, Nazarbayev University Graduate School of Education was established in 2013. It was one of the first graduate schools of Nazarbayev University. This photo is of our first cohort of master's students who completed in 2014 and graduated in 2015. So they and all the people who followed them, who are now our alumni, are making a difference in education through Kazakhstan and beyond Kazakhstan. So they're working in schools, higher education, inclusive education, NGOs, their own businesses, and in continuing to PhD education in different places around the world. But what holds them together is that they are all working towards this mission of Nazarbayev University and the Graduate School of Education to make a difference in education and through education. Another reason for choosing NUGSE is that we pride ourselves on our high quality teaching and research. We work hard on teaching and we produce research of international standards that's published in international journals all around the world. We are an inclusive, diverse community of faculty and students. Our faculty and increasingly students come from all around the world. And we work together to create something that's innovative, new, good for education, and good for Kazakhstan. Our partners are Cambridge University in the UK and the University of Pennsylvania in the US, and they are involved in various aspects of education at GSE. Our people, as you can see, we have a very diverse group of people working in GSE. So our people come from Kazakhstan, of course, but also from the US, from South Africa, from Pakistan, Latvia, China, Spain, Canada, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Australia, Turkey, the UK, and I've probably missed some there, sorry, but all around the world. But we all come together, we bring our experiences from all around the world to create the best education and research that we can. Our programs, as some of you may know, our largest program is actually a master's degree in educational leadership, which has strands in school education, higher education, and inclusive education, and subject to approval will also include multilingual education from 2021. And then we have an MA in multilingual education. We have a PhD program in education, and from 2021, we are planning to start a doctorate of education. And I will talk a little bit more about that now. So what kind of doctoral education do we offer? From 2021, we're planning to offer 2 doctoral programs, but this is subject to approval, so it is still tentative. Now, the big question is going to be, of course, so how are they different? You know, how do I apply for a PhD in education or a doctorate in education, an EdD? Now, this table gives a little bit of the difference, but obviously, you know, we're here to answer questions about this. But the PhD in education has a slightly different aim to the EdD. So the PhD in education is for those people who are aiming to be professional researchers, for example, to be the professors in education at universities or to be professional, you know, full-time researchers. The EdD is generally for people who are working full-time in education, usually in leadership positions, but they're aiming to be research active professionals. They want to change practice through research. The PhD in education is offered full-time on campus, so it's that kind of traditional experience, whereas the EdD is going to be mainly online, and it's for those who want to continue working and mainly online study. And the PhD in education is for those, there is no prerequisite in terms of professional or leadership experience, although most of our PhD students do have substantial experience. The EdD is for experienced professionals. So a little bit more detail about the PhD. The PhD involves 4 years of full-time on-campus study. So this is your traditional study path. The first 2 years are mainly coursework, but from the very beginning of your first year, you would also be developing your research ideas and a research proposal. And then the last 2 years would be almost completely devoted to doing your independent research study. In most cases, collecting empirical data, doing data analysis, and writing it up into an 8,000-word thesis. The PhD program also involves an international study semester, or slightly shorter than a semester, at one of our partner universities, so at Cambridge or Penn. So that's an integral part of the PhD program. Now, during the PhD, you don't have another full-time job, but you can work as a GTA, a graduate teaching assistant, or a research assistant at Nazarbayev University for up to 10 hours per week. So you do get that experience in teaching and research during the time that you are studying for a PhD. This is not the main focus of this presentation, but just one quick tip for a successful application. Make sure you know how to write a good research proposal. You can find many guidelines online about how to write a good research proposal, but basically you need to make sure that you have a clearly identified research problem. What's the gap? What's the problem you are addressing? You need a clearly articulated research purpose. What is the purpose of this research? What difference will it make? Why does it have to be done? So the purpose and the significance. And then you need research questions that are aligned with your research problem and your research purpose. So those have to be they don't have to be perfect at the point of application, but it has to be clear that you know what you are trying to study, basically. And then you need to show evidence that you have done reading around this. What does the literature say? What do other researchers say about your research topic? And you need to show that you have some ideas about how to find out the answers to your research questions. So that's your methodology part, isn't it? So, how will you do your research, your empirical research, to try to find the answers to your research questions? And basically, if you have all those things in a research proposal and it's properly referenced and well written and all aligned, those are the key elements of a good research proposal. But you can find many guidelines online. Now, this new program that we are developing at the moment, and that is not approved yet, so all of this is provisional, because obviously we cannot run the program without it being approved. But the EdD will be 3 to 6 years of mainly online study. So there will be one or maybe more summer schools, but most of the studying will be online. Again, it will have a combination of coursework and an independent applied research study, but there will be differences in the focus of the coursework, which will be more practice-based, and in the research study, which will definitely be practice-based. And this is aimed at experienced, very highly self-motivated and self-disciplined professionals across Central Asia and beyond. So part of being eligible for for application to the EdD is that you need to be working in a relevant context, because a lot of the learning will integrate the learning, the theory and the learning that you are doing at GCSE and professional practice. So in order to succeed in the EdD, it's going to be necessary to be very self-disciplined about being able to do what is usually a very demanding job and demanding study as well. So a tip for successful application here, obviously the information about the research proposal applies here as well. But in addition to that, you also need to make sure you can clearly articulate how and why this doctoral degree would enhance your practice and how would it benefit you and your professional community. So, I mean, it's a question of why do you want to do this? Why do you need to do a doctorate of education rather than do a professional development course or do, whatever else you might do? So those are the questions that you will need to really think about and have clear answers to in order to be able to enter the doctorate of education at GCSE. Now, obviously, we will be providing a lot more information about this once it is approved. So there will be more information coming out about the doctorate of education then. It's not available right now. So this is just a preview of what we hope will be available in 2021. If you want to know more, a good place to start is the GCSE website and the GCSE Facebook page, which you can easily find there. Sign up for GCSE seminars. We often do seminars, webinars, and you're very welcome to come along. It gives you an idea of the kind of things that are being discussed, and it also gets you involved in the community of GCSE. You can always contact admissions, or you can contact GCSE Academic and Student Affairs Office with any questions. And if you have specific questions about a research topic, most of our GCSE faculty would be quite happy to answer an email or maybe even have a Zoom conversation. You can always email and ask if they're available. That's not a problem at all. And you can find all the contact details on the GCSE website. So that's a brief overview of doctoral education at GCSE. I hope that's been helpful as a starting point. And if you do have any more questions, please do get in touch. Thank you very much.